Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Yvonne Skipper from the University of Glasgow, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about fake videos. Now, fake videos are a bit like fake photos, but they tend to be a bit harder to do. So you've probably seen some pretty obvious videos out there that are clearly fake, where people have done voiceovers, where the lips don't match, or where they're just very comedically done and quite funny, where people look kind of a bit odd and a bit, like they're just not real. And these sorts of things are quite often used just for humor and to make people smile. But some of the deepfakes now are getting to be really, really good. And to do a proper deepfake, it takes quite a lot of time and energy, because in order to do a deepfake, you need to show lots of videos of somebody talking to the machine, and the machine gradually learns their expressions. It'll learn that I use my hands a lot. It would learn, how my face moves when I'm speaking. And if you give it enough data, and for example, quite often they get someone to come in who acts out, who acts a little bit similarly, you can record voices and things, you can now make some pretty realistic looking deepfake videos. So it's important for us to think about, well, why would people do this? I mean, there's some really good reasons to make fake videos. So for example, nowadays they're quite often used in training videos. You might not want to give somebody who's new to your job a big long training manual for them to read. And it's quite boring for us to just watch, another video with scrolling text. So sometimes we use deepfakes when we're designing training videos, so people are learning from what looks like a real person. They can be used in museums. So you might have seen something where you can go into like a Van Gogh exhibit and have him introducing you to his work, which is quite an interesting and engaging way for people to learn. They've been used to give voices to people who've lost their voice, for example, through illnesses. And they have also been used in dubbing. So for example, when you watch a foreign film, if they're speaking in a different language and then you dub over, it can be quite confusing because the lips don't match up to the voice. And what they've been used is to make those look more natural, so they're much easier for people to watch. But of course, they can be used in bad ways. They can make it look that people have said that they've said things that they haven't said, or done things that they would never do. And it can make us be less likely to trust people, because if we can see videos of important people saying things where we think, I can't believe they've said that, that's ridiculous. In the same way that all the fake stories and the fake photos you've been talking about, it can have a really negative impact on people trusting others. And it can make people feel very bad about themselves. For example, if they're, if they are in a video and they're like, I didn't actually say that, or I didn't do something like that. So there are some problems with deepfakes as well. And so in terms of like trying to recognize these sorts of deepfake videos, there's a few different things you can do. So one of the first things is to look at the source. So there are, as I said, a lot of funny videos out there. And sometimes if you just click on the source, it's very clear that someone's made it for fun, or made it, to entertain people. So the source is a really good place to start. You might also want to kind of go beyond the headline. So if there's something that seems a bit like, I'm not sure that person would have said that, or I really don't think that would have happened. Sometimes it's quite quick just to have a quick Google and be like, yeah, okay, this was somebody doing this just for a bit of fun, or, it's not actually true. In terms of the video itself, you can also look at things like lighting, things like shadows. So does it look natural? Is there a shadow behind them? Sometimes in deepfakes, the lips don't quite match up, or you'll see that the head isn't quite right. So look at like the little details in the video. And you will see, particularly with spoof videos, sometimes when if you're filming on your phone, it gets a bit juddery. And people will use that to their advantage, and they might edit things at that point. So keep an eye for like little details of things like shadows, or things like the way things are moving. But I mean, the takeaway here is that there are some really, really good deepfakes out there. It's really hard to spot them. So what you're going to need to use to spot them is to really use all the skills you've been using. So look at who's sharing them, look at the video itself, maybe even do some Googling. If it's about a famous person and something they've done when they were in America, you can even Google, like, were they actually in America at that point? Have they ever met so and so? Is it likely that the Queen would be dancing? So all these different skills that you've been using are really important, because deepfake videos are probably one of the most tricky things to spot, and one of the most challenging.